Today we're going to discuss about simplifying fractions with radical denominators using the product of the sum and difference of two binomials. So, first of all, we need to understand that the product of the sum and difference of two binomials will follow this property. So, if you're multiplying a plus b with a minus b, what is going to happen is you're going to square the first term, and then the sign is a negative, and then the second term is also going to be squared. So let us begin. My first example is going to be 3 over 4 plus 4 square root of 5. We all know that the square root of 5 here in the denominator is not considered acceptable because it's not simplified. Therefore, we need to remove it, and the way to remove it is by using this property. So since there is a plus, I'm going to multiply it with the same exact terms, except that the sign is the opposite, which is negative. So in the denominator, I'm going to use 4 minus 4 square root of 5. Whatever I do at the bottom, I need to do on top so as not to change the value. This is considered 1. Therefore, I'm not changing the value of the given algebraic expression. So now, how do we solve this? This is equal to, according to this property, I need to square my first term. So at the bottom, I'm going to have 16 because 4 times 4 is 16. There is a positive and a negative, or a plus and a minus, and the property says put that in a negative, and then I need to square this. The square of that is going to be 16 because 4 squared, or 4 times 4, is 16, and then the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is square root of 25. That will be my denominator. On my numerator, please take note that this is 3 times quantity 4 minus 4 square root of 5. Therefore, the 3 is going to be distributed to both 4 and negative 4 square root of 5. That would now look like as 12, negative 12 square root of 5. I will just copy that for now. I will have 12 minus 12 square root of 5, but my denominator would now look like this, 16 minus 16 times 5. So where did we get the 5 from? We got it from the square root of 25. So therefore here, it would look like 12 minus 12 square root of 5 all over 16 minus 80. Where did we get the 80 from? 16 times 5. Let us simplify. The greatest common factor of 12 and negative 12 square root of 5 is a 12. So I'm going to put it outside. I'm going to factor out. So 12 divided by 12 is going to be a 1. I'm going to factor out the 12 outside, so that's a minus, but it will now just be a square root of 5. Why? Because there's a 1 in the front, and I factored out my negative 12 and put it outside. So this becomes a 1, and I don't need to write a 1. At the bottom, it's now going to be a negative 64. This now is going to become a negative 3 over 16 and on the numerator will turn to 1 minus square root of 5. And I'm going to real quick show you why the 12 over 64 became 3 over 16. And it is because of this. So 12 over 64 is actually divisible by 4, which will make it a 3 over 16. And that's where I got it from. The negative is because the 12 is positive and the 64 is negative. So positive over negative is negative for the whole fraction. And your final answer on this one is this. Okay. For our example number 2, we are going to use square root of 5 over 4 minus square root of 5. The negative square root of 5 in the denominator is the one that's not considered simplified, so we need to get rid of it by using the property of multiplying positive and negative, the sum and difference of two binomials. So we are going to use that property. So I will multiply this again by the same thing, 4, but the sign will be the opposite sign. So that's plus 4 plus square root of 5. Whatever you do at the bottom, you do on top. And it says here that we're going to square the first terms. So that's going to be 16. The sign will be minus. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is square root of 25. And on top, I will have to distribute. So when you distribute that, that's going to be a 4 square root of 5. And plus square root of 25. So that's going to look like 4 square root of 5 plus 5 over 16 minus 5. And so it's going to be 4 square root of 5 plus 5 all over 11. And that is our final answer. Okay. For our third and final example, we are going to use 4 square root of 2 over square root of 2 minus 5 square root of 3. So let us multiply it by the same terms, except the signs are different. Whatever you do below, you do on top. And you're going to square the first term, so square root of 2 times square root of 2 is going to be square root of 4. Signs are opposite, so minus. Square the 5, so that's going to be a 25. Square the square root of 3, that's going to be square root of 9. I would close it in parentheses just to be safe. I am now going to distribute my 4, and it would look like 4 square root of 2 plus 20 square root of 3 And I will have this 2 I cannot combine. However, I can factor out my 4. So I will have 4 outside, square root of 2, plus if I factor out my 4 from here, it's just going to be a 5 square root of 3 all over square root of 4 is 2 minus 25 times 3. I will have 4 square root of 2 plus 5, hold on, parentheses, I'm sorry, 5 square root of 3 all over 2 minus 75, and I will have 4 out, square root of 2 plus 5 square root of 3 all over negative 73, and that's the final answer.